Yo, what's up guys, it's Shitty, and today we're here with our week 5 game for the UPBA. I had to make sure in my mind that it was week 5, a week 5 game for the UPBA against Coach Gray and his Los Angeles Valienteis. So fun fact about Gray, he is actually also the commissioner of the league. So, not like it really matters or anything, we're gonna come in either way and try our best against any coach, whether they're the commissioner or not, but nonetheless we are gonna try and beat Gray here up today. Now we're just gonna do this how we usually do. I'm gonna read off our teams and kind of run down what we went through, what I thought about his team and all that. So before that starts, if you do enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more league content. Got something special coming really soon with a bunch of cool people in the draft format, so that'll be really cool. But nonetheless, let's just get into it. Our team is still the same. You have to make any transactions. Our team is Zero Aura, Z Infernape, Tangrowth, Dawnfan, Mega Aggron, Aromatisse, Gastrodon, Golbat, Dusknoir, Kyurem, and Alakazam, with Dusknoir also being a Z user. And he is packing the Megalodios, the Clefable, the Heatran, Kelde-Oh, Crobat, Hoopa Unbound, Rotom, Gligar, Crustle, Dusclops, and the Heatmore, with the Z-Mons being Z Heatran, Z Gligar, and Z Heatmore. So when making Z-Mons, obviously he opted to do multiple smaller Z users than one big one and then one small one, which I thought was an interesting route. I mean, he has possibility for Z Hoopa, Z Kelde-Oh, which I thought would have been pretty good, so I'm pretty surprised he didn't opt to bring those, but what happens. So let me quickly run down the team that we have for him. I mean, he has a pretty scary team. Like, the top half is very scary. The bottom half, starts to get a little bit less scary with things such as the Crustle. I mean, that's not really too scary. Obviously, you could set hazard stack, but I have hazard removal options. Dusclops usually isn't too scary, but it's still pretty bulky, so it could prove to cause some problems. And the Heatmore, just really not that great all around. But anyways, we are bringing a pretty specially defensive Mega Aggron to deal with threats such as the Megalodios, the Clefable, and we can switch in a Rotom as well, and maybe the Hoopa. We kind of got to scout for that Hoopa set. I am thinking he's going to be a physical set because I do have the Aromatisse, so I think he's going to bring Gunk Shot. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in the back of my mind, a physical set. So this might not help as much, but we'll kind of see what happens. We're running 180 Adamant attack, and then just the rest in HP and special defense, because from there I think it's Heavy Slam to it KOs a bulky Megalodios, which is what I want. I don't want him setting up on me for free. We have Heavy Slam, Ice Punch, Stealth Rock, Roar. Heavy Slam obviously for our main stab, Ice Punch to hit the Gligar, the Stealth Rocks just have them up, and then a Roar just to phase out any mon in case Megalodios or Clefable they're setting up something crazy. Same with Kelde-Oh, and yeah, that's about it. Next we got our Zero Aura with the Expert Belt. Pretty often it's a mixed attacker. We got 140 Hasty with max attack, and then the rest special attack with Plasma Fist, Iron Tail, Dual Chop, HP Ice. Obviously Plasma Fist for our main stab, Iron Tail to hit that Clefable, the Dual Chop for the Megalodios, and the HP Ice for the Gligar. HP Ice just did not do enough to the Latios, especially if it was more bulky. And if he throws a Calm Mind, we just couldn't break through it, whereas Dual Chop looks like it's going to 2 KO pretty much any completely physically defensive Megalodios set. So that's kind of what we're doing it for. The only problem with this set, I really can't hit the Heatran hard. Rotom I might not hit too hard depending on his set, but otherwise we're looking to put in some work with the Zero Aura set. Next we have our Alakazam with the Life Orb, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, HP Ground, just 4 moves, just completely run through his team pretty well. I mean, he doesn't have a lot to outspeed either, outside of any Scarfers. The only thing that outspeeds is the Crobat. And so, yeah. And then next we got, we have Psychic, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, HP Ground that touches his entire team. Gligar, if it's especially defensive, may be able to take the hits. Otherwise, his team is not appreciating this. So next we have our Berry, Valienteis, Moonblast, Aromatherapy, Wish Protect. It was a pretty mixed wall, 68 defense, Impish, 196, special defense, 244 HP. I wish I could tell you the exact reason why I brought what I brought. I couldn't tell you though. It's been a while since I've done it. Yeah, they just meant to be a completely support set Aromatisse and maybe a soft check to Hoopa depending on his set once again. Next we have our Kyurem with the Papa Berry, Ice Beam, Flash Cannon, Earth Power Sub. It just meant to be pretty bulky but still offensive. Offensive Kyurem does really well against his team. Ice Beam, Flash Cannon, Earth Power Sub. We really just can't hit the Kelde-Oh. But otherwise, like, it runs through his team. And I got the Dust Clops if he's EV Light. I'd have a better item to run, so I just ran the Papa Berry. That's something I seem to be doing a lot, just if I don't really have a good item. Like, it's either between leftovers and then a 50% berry, and I usually just opt for the Papa Berry. So yeah. And then last we got the Gastrodon. Just a split def wall, Scald, Earthquake, Toxic Recover. I meant to switch into the Heatran, which I do want to scout for that Z Solar Beam, and the Kelde-Oh. So just looking at this team pretty much, Nasty Bat could be a problem, and Crobat in general. I mean, all you really have is Mega Aggron. Hoopa U, we need to scout what kind of set it is. A lot of my offense does outspeed it, so as long as we find out whether it's Scarfed or not, and if we know it's Scarfed, then we can just scout for what move it decides to lock itself into. Then that could be nice. We can pivot around that well. Just stopping that Mega Latias from setting up. The same with the Kelde-Oh. Kelde-Oh looks like it could be a big problem for my team if I don't play around it correctly. And just making sure I keep hazards off the field are really just my main objectives in this game. So yeah, you know the team we brought. He decided to bring the Clefable, the Heatran, the Mega Latias, the Kelde-Oh, the Hoopa Unbound, and the Gligar. So obviously, like I said, Clefable probably is going to be a defensive set. Mega Aggron should be able to tilt it extremely well. Heatran, I'm thinking it's just going to be a defensive rocker. Mega Latias, I think it's going to be a Calm Mind user, pretty bulky. Kelde-Oh, just, offensive. The Hoopa U, you need to scout for what kind of set he is going to be. And then the Gligar just going to be defensive, probably with like Defog. So yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking he's going to bring. I mean, he has to bring a Scarfer in my eyes for the Zero Order, so Kelde-Oh and Hoopa, whichever one isn't, I'm going to think the other one probably is. And, I mean, he could also bring Scarf Heatran, like in order to catch me off guard, but I didn't really think that was likely. Like I said, I think it's going to be a bulky Roxley Heatran. So yeah, that's kind of what I think about his team. We're just going to hop right into this. I believe I just decided to lead off with, I do not remember what I lead off with. I want to say I led off with Kyurem, and I led off with Gastrodon, predicting the Heatran lead to set up rocks, and he decided to lead off with the Clefable. So I decided just to go straight into my Mega Aggron. It really wasn't that big of a deal. I could take anything and just completely scare this thing out, as he decided to set up his rocks with this Clefable. Meaning that maybe that is an offensive Heatran, maybe it is Scarved in the back, so I'm going to have to check out for that. I'm just going to go for the Heavy Slam here. Not going to overpredict or anything, as I'm just going to Mega Evolve as he sends out his Gligar. And as we're going to see from this damage, it is going to be a pretty physically defensive Gligar. Oh no, I'm going to set my rocks, okay. I set my rocks pretty much free. As now he's going to U-turn, I believe, right? Yeah, he's going to U-turn thinking I swap. I'm just going to stay in. I mean, Mega Aggron's not going to really take too much from a Gligar's EQ. And he is just going to go into his Kelde-Oh here as I clicked Ice Punch, I believe. Yeah, I wouldn't see why I wouldn't click Ice Punch there. And we're not going to do much here. I just decided to go into my Gastrodon on the Kelde-Oh. And as you can see here, he is going to click the Secret Sword, which is, and then, I mean, he's just going to do about 60-75%. this is a complete oversight when prepping. I mean, I completely forgot about Sacred Sword and how it hits physically rather than specially. So if I really wanted this Gastrodon to be a check to this Kelde-Oh, I should have brought a physically defensive set instead. I didn't though, and that was a complete oversight for me, but luckily from that damage we can tell that that is a Specs Kelde-Oh, so we can just go out into our Valienteis here, and he did pretty well. I'm just going to set up the Wish, I believe, as he decided to go into his Heat Rain here. Yep, exactly what's going to happen. And that was a complete oversight from me, so that was pretty unfortunate. I mean, I don't see how I'm ever going to get my Gastrodon back to health, so if this is an offensive Heat Rain, I am taking a ton of damage from this thing. I don't really have to switch into it anymore. So yeah, with here, just because of that, I'm going to sack off my Gastrodon as he's going to double into his Mega Latios here. I'm not really too sure why. I guess he was predicting something. But yeah, I'm just going to go into my Gastrodon here. Last side, I mean, I could stay in and Toxic, but in case he has Sub, in case he has Refresh or something, I can't allow that to happen. So I am gonna sack it off to get the Toxic or whatever. I guess just because even if he like subbed or refreshed, I could always just go into Mega Aggro on the following turn. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, he would have to get set up a ton for it to do a lot of damage to my Mega Aggron, so I guess I didn't think it's that big of a deal. As he's just gonna click Psychic. You don't have to Mega first turn. I'm not sure why he didn't there. There really wasn't any downside to not doing it, but whatever. Here I'm gonna click the Roar, predicting him to swap out. He can go into his Heat Rain and get forced into his Mega Latios. Here I really wanted to click Roar a second time. I don't remember if I did or not though, or if I just attacked. I think I just attacked as he recovered. Yeah, he's gonna recover here, and I believe I just heavy slammed once again just to get damage off. I thought he would over predict. That's exactly what I do. And here we're gonna see he does a lot, so we do know he can 2KO with the heavy slam, which is really nice. Here I predict him to just swap out, and I click Roar as he does recover, predicting me to do that, I assume. And so he's gonna keep his Latios really healthy. He gets sent out into his Clefable, which is great for me. I can just fire off the heavy slam here, which is exactly what I do, I think, as he decided to just go out into his Gligar. So we're gonna fire off the heavy slam here, and this is where we find out based on the damage it is pretty physically defensive. So yeah, we're gonna do a good amount to it, but not a ton. Here I'm just gonna click the Ice Punch as he Roost. I should have really predicted that. Roost is now gonna make it lose its flying typing, so heavy slam would have done more than the Ice Punch, just because Gligar is so small. Yeah, as you can see, it's gonna do almost nothing. Here I'm just gonna fire off the heavy slam as he does return out once again. So Mega Aggron is proven to be a good nuisance to him in this team, which is great for us. You can go out into his Heat Rain. Actually, I think I might have just roared predicting that, predicting the U-turn. Yeah, I did. So he's just not allowed to switch into his Heat Rain, which is nice because, like I said, if that is offensive, that is a problem. I believe here I decided to go out into my Valienteis. No matter what, I really just wanted to scout. I thought Focus Blast could be a thing. He could end up being special, or even just a mixed attacker. So yeah, he's just gonna click the Focus Blast here, and he's gonna fire it off. And as you're gonna see from the damage, it does nothing. So it does look like it's pretty physically offensive. So it is probably a mixed attacker, and he's gonna swap out here, as I believe I just fired off the Wish, right? No, I swap doubling, predicting that the Heat Rain and go into Alakazam. Because like I said earlier, if Kelde-Oh isn't scarfed, I'm thinking the Hoop is unscarfed, or the Hoop is the one scarfed, and so I think he's scarfed into Focus Blast. So I decided to go into my Alakazam, and I could just kill with the Signal Beam and all that. Actually, I don't think I do kill the Signal Beam, but it's whatever. And also I could kill Heat Rain with the HP Ground, so I do just decide to stay in. Here I just decided to Psychic the Clefable. As he sent it in, I can. As he just does Fire Blast, predicting the Mega Aggron, I just decided to stay in. I'm not Sash, so there's no point in me keeping it. Here I really wanted to click Signal Beam on the Hoop Unbound, but I just didn't want to take any more damage from my Alakazam than I really needed to. So I do just to fire off the Psychic again. He does go into his Hoopa, and like I said, I'm pretty sure he's Scarfed. So here I decided to go into my Heat Rain, or into my Aggron, predicting the HP, or the Gunk Shot, as he did just fire off the Zen Headbutt. So as you can see here, that's going to do no damage. So that's good for us. Here I decided to fire off the Roar, I believe, predicting the Heat Rain. As he goes into Kelde-Oh, if that would happen, or did it just fire off the Heavy Slam? I just fire off the heavy slam. It put it in range of a lot of moves. I mean, it has some pretty good special defense, so it would have taken a decent amount from that heavy slam, like 40%, and then it would have been in range of a lot more stuff from my team. Here I decided to go into my Kyurem. I didn't think he'd lock himself in a Secret Sword with my Valienteis in the back. I thought he'd click the water move, which is exactly what he does. He does click the Hydro Pump here, and we're going to eat it up pretty well. I mean, not really, because he specs, but luckily he knocks us down to Papa Berry range with the crit. And I don't think the crit mattered, in the sense that I think if he had crit two Hydro Pumps and just clicked them back to back, I think I would have lived just barely, and I would have just been able to get put in Papa Berry range, just at much less health, and I think I would have lived. I'm not really too sure, but here's going to see now Clefable one pretty much just sack it. I'm just going to click Earth Power into Ice Beam and just pretty much pick up the KO. Here he's going to go back into his Kelde-Oh, and I once again just stay in. I felt like this was the most expendable member on my team, was the Kyurem. I mean, he had Mega Lottie, which just outsped and killed. He had the Heat Ran, which it could have been nice for the Heat Ran, just to Earth Power it, but I'm pretty sure it was living one. Hoopa Unbound, outsped and just killed me. It was also nice for the Gligar, but like I had things to deal with the Gligar. I had things to deal with the Heat Ran. I just felt like Kyurem really wasn't too big of a deal, and so I just decided to stay on the Kelde-Oh. He ended up clicking Scald, so I ended up picking up the kill on it. He decided to go out into his Hoopa Unbound, and I decided to save it at this point because I felt like I could go into Aromatisse pretty freely as he clicked the Zen Headbutt, and he does end up actually missing, which is really, really unfortunate for him. And now he's going to pick up the kill with the third Zen Headbutt. And so yeah, it was really unfortunate for him because, like you know, we had the rock set up, and we wouldn't have gotten that Moonblast chip off on it. So I mean, had we not gotten that Moonblast chip, he would still be able to survive rocks. So that was just really, really unfortunate. Here I'm gonna click the Heavy Slam as I go into Mega Aggron because he locked himself in the Zen Headbutt. I'm still really, really sure he is locked in. I'm pretty sure he's scarfed. Here, he's just gonna let this thing go down as I believe I click Heavy Slam once again. I thought he'd defog, if I'm being honest. Oh no, yeah. I defogged, or I thought he would defog, but he doesn't. So I don't know if he didn't have defog on the Gligar. That would have probably been his play, so that he could keep his Hoopa around. But I guess not. As he does go into this thing here, I believe I sacked the Aromatisse this turn. No, Aromatisse already died. I sack off the Kyurem this turn. So yeah, I'll explain why the Zen Headbutt mattered here in a sec, because these turns are getting caught up. Here I decided to sack my Kyurem. It wasn't doing too much anymore. The Gligar went down, and I have a bunch of things for this Kyurem, or for this Heat Ran. As he does just fire off the Fire Blast, here I'm going to go into my Boogie, because I'm pretty sure I can just kill this thing with the Plasma Fist at this range, after all the rocks it's taken at this point. As he decided to sack off the Hoopa Unbound here. It is going to die to rock, so once again, I think defog with the play on the Gligar if he packed it. I don't think he did, otherwise he would have clicked it, but I'm not 100% sure. He's going to go into his Mega Latias here, and I just have to stay in and dual chop this thing. I'm pretty sure I can 2 KO after rocks, and I just can't allow this thing to set up for free. So here I am going to click the dual chop to about 60-70%, and he is going to try to set up the Calm Mind. If I was just to click HP Ice, he would have been able to set up pretty freely, but luckily I did bring the dual chop specifically for this thing. And now I'm just going to click the dual chop again. Not going to overpredict or anything, and we are going to be able to pick up the KO on this Mega Latias. And so really that just leaves the Heat Ran. If he is scarfed, honestly, Fire Blast is looking like a big problem. My Aggron probably dies. This probably dies. My my Zero or my Alakazam is gonna die. That's all my mons remaining. So if that was a scarfed Heat Ran, that could have been very much a problem, depending on how much speed you put into it. But yeah, that was GG to Zach, or to Jack, sorry, I'm just kind of all over the place. But yeah, once again, the Moonblast, or him missing the Zen Headbutt, sucked, because Hoopa was pretty much put to death to rocks at that point, because he couldn't switch it in, and he shouldn't have even taken that Moonblast damage to begin with. So that was pretty unfortunate. Although I think had he landed it, I probably would have gone into Mega Aggron knowing that I could take it and have gotten some damage off on it, or at least just he would have gotten the Heat Ran. I would have sacked the Aromatisse at that point, and then from there it would have been kind of interesting to see what would happen at that point. Nonetheless, just the Zen Headbutt miss really sucked for him. Something else was his Heat Ran set was actually Z Sunny Day, and so had he set up the Z Sunny Day, say as I switched into Kyurem, that could have been really problematic. It would have been +1 speed, so essentially Scarf, but he would have had the ability to change his moves, and so as long as he didn't miss like a Fire Blast, he just completely swept my team. But even yeah, he would have had to not miss, because Aggron could have just roared it out, and then he lost the +1 speed, and then from there I could have the same thing would have happened where I killed the Plasma Fist and I outsped. So yeah, that's as long as he didn't miss a Fire Blast, which I don't ever consider hacks in what if situations really, unless it's very obvious it might happen, where it Scope Wins crit or King's Rock on a multi-hitting Mon, something like that. I mean, he looked like he could have won, so really unfortunate that he didn't click it there. He didn't really say why. I think it was just probably because he didn't want his thing getting... Oh, he didn't click it. What did I have out when he sent in his Heat Ran? I think it was... It was a Aromatisse, was it not? No, Aromatisse got sacked off. And then I went into... It was Mega Aggron. He was scared of the EQ. But he didn't write down all 4 of my moves. He didn't realize that he already saw Heavy Slam, Ice Punch, Stealth Rock, and Roar. So he was scared of the EQ, so he just wanted to attack. And that honestly worked out for us. So it was really unfortunate, just a couple of unfortunate scenarios. Him not realizing we didn't pack EQ, him not setting up the Z Sunny Day, and him missing that Zen Headbutt all led us to this win for us. So unfortunate, but anyways, GG to Jack. Make sure to go check him out and all the other UPBA coaches. They upload every single Saturday, and I really enjoy a lot of their videos, honestly. So hopefully you guys will too. Well, thank you guys so much for watching once again. If you did enjoy, make sure that like button and subscribe for more league content. Like I said, I have something special coming up very, very soon to do with a lot of names in the Draft League community. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that when that comes around. But anyways, I thank you guys so much for watching once again. This has been Shady, and I'm out. Peace.